You lost on that one. That wasn't, quote, all she had. I think all you have is 2 brain cells. What do you think about that, sir?
So I was wondering, I was saying, I think it's been, sorry, it's basically been your main thing, I would say, that most of MAGA doesn't have like policies or anything serious that they've been voting on, that they've been voting on silly stuff, right? Well, I would say maybe one of Trump's best things was that back in 2016 when he won, was that he kept Trump out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership when he won, right? Now, back in 2016, it was the plan of Barack Obama that if the Democrats got control of the White House again, that they were going to get the U.S. in the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So I don't know, maybe you could speak to that.
So let's go back. Sure. So John, I'm happy to go back to 2016. If you don't mind me asking, are you a Trump? And I'm not holding it against you. I want to have a conversation with you. Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I appreciate you calling in. So let's go back to 2016 because you had said, well, I believe that most Trump supporters, they really can't name policies. I tend to agree with you, but let's talk about that. In 2015 and 2016, since we want to go back there, Donald Trump ran on 2 things, 2 main things. There were other things he talked about, right? And he blamed Democrats for all of our problems, but he ran on 2 things. How do we know this? Because the 2 things he brought up in every campaign stop were, we're going to build a wall and Mexico's going to pay for it. And I'm going to hire a special prosecutor to go after Hillary Clinton. Well, as you know, John, I think you do. He did not build a wall that Mexico paid for. They didn't pay $1 for it. He got 6% of the wall built. That's number 1. And number 2, he never hired a special prosecutor to go after Hillary Clinton. By the way, Hillary was investigated 8 times when it came to Benghazi by Republicans. They found nothing. Okay. Nothing. 0. And then this time around, since we're talking about policy, in almost every campaign stop, he said he would end the war in 24 hours. Now, I'm just going by the first couple months. You know the war is not over, and it's far from over in Ukraine. And he said he would lower the price of prescription drugs, which he hasn't done. By the way, one could argue he's done the opposite with some of the executive orders that he signed, which I can get into with you. And he said no tax on tips. That hasn't been implemented. It wasn't even in his tax policy a few months ago. And I would also add, on top of that, he's the guy that said he would lower the price of eggs. And even though eggs have dropped in the last couple of weeks, they're still way up since day one. So when I say he lies and he makes false promises and people believe it, make America great again is not a policy. It's a slogan. So with respect, sir, I would say that those are my examples that I would bring up of why I say that, sir. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go back and talk to one of those things you said.
Sure.
Okay. If I go back to that one election back in 2016, and my 2 options were voting for Trump or voting for Hillary, and I thought that Hillary should be in prison, or Trump was saying he was going to put a special project or a special prosecutor. Then, like, why would I vote for Hillary?
Why should Hillary be in prison? Yeah. What was the crime?
If I thought that she should be in prison, no, she should definitely be in prison.
Okay, well, what's the crime? Tell me what the crime is. What did she do?
Absolutely, she should be in prison. Selling out uranium, everything, sir.
Whoa, what's the crime? If when you say somebody's, like, for example, when I say,
she should definitely be in prison.
Okay, you've said that 5 times. What's the crime, sir?
I didn't say it 5 times, sir.
What's the crime?
5 times.
What's the crime?
She should definitely be in prison. No, you should look into
Pot him down.
Uranium.
Hey, now I'm going to get frustrated with you. You've said 6 times she should be in prison. I've asked you 6 times, what is the crime? Don't answer it with she should be in prison. By the way, the guy that you support is a 34-count felon that should be in prison. Why should he be in prison? Because he's a 34-count felon. Name me the crime that Hillary Clinton committed, sir, please.
There was with Morocco when her husband Bill went to speak in Morocco. And then it was about 3 weeks later after her husband Bill got paid so many hundreds of millions of dollars. She signed something favorable in the treaty for him. It was back in like 2014.
John.
I would have a hard time finding the source because I'm only on the phone.
John. So you're entitled to your opinion. I don't need the source, and I don't need you to go into details. John. Then name me the crime. What is the crime? Tell me what the crime is.
Crime, sir.
A crime isn't. I've never heard of the system. That's not a crime.
You have to
protected, sir. There's fraud, sir. Let me explain to you what a crime is. Hold on.
I know what a crime is.
Okay, then name the crime. Then name the crime.
She's been heavily protected in the system for 40 years, sir.
Being heavily protected in the system isn't a crime. I'm asking you now for the 10th time. Name the crime. No, name me the statute that says heavily protected by the system is a crime. Sir, that's not a crime. I'm asking you now for the 11th time. When you say somebody belongs in jail, you need to name what the crime is. Okay. What
He's
is
been
the crime?
a huge career criminal in the
Well,
entire
you caught him down
system.
again. A huge career criminal is not naming a crime. I've now asked you 13 times. And if you're going to say somebody belongs in jail, you need to name the crime. Sir, I will ask you for the 14th time. I know you believe that Hillary should be in jail. I get it. I'm asking you what crime was committed. Name a crime. Why can't you do that? Go ahead, sir.
Mysterious death of Seth Rich.
I'm sorry. Seth Rich isn't a crime. Name the crime.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
No. Naming a person isn't a crime, sir. Seth Rich isn't a crime. Name me the crime. Are you that ignorant, with all due respect, sir, that you can't even name a crime that you think somebody committed? Like when I say O.J. Simpson committed a crime, I think he committed double murder. You see how it works, sir? Right? You see how it works? Donald Trump is a 34-count felon. He committed fraud. I think he belongs in jail because he's a 34-count felon that was proven in a court of law. I'm asking you what crime Hillary Clinton committed. Why can't you name the crime? You can't even Google it.
I don't know. I'm only on my phone right now.
All right. So I appreciate the fact that you finally admitted after I asked you 15 times, quote, you don't know. I think she belongs in jail. What's the crime? I don't know the crime. Seth Rich, she's protected. That's not a crime, sir. Do you know what the crime is? I don't know. Thank you for finally admitting you don't know. All right. So as we continue this conversation, sir, let's move on to Kamala Harris. Since now we've proven that you want somebody to be in jail, but you can't even articulate what the crime was, which is amazing to me, but that's okay. Let's move on. We'll agree to disagree on that one, sir. Kamala Harris, let's focus on, several months ago. What was it about Kamala Harris that you said, I can't vote for that woman? I want to get your thoughts on that, sir, if that's okay.
Pretty much everything.
Okay, so let's not speak in general terms because everything isn't a policy, right? Everything isn't a policy. Let's be specific and let's start with one specific thing that you didn't like about Kamala Harris, okay?
I don't like anything about Kamala Harris.
Okay, saying you don't like, okay, so sir, are you just being a troll? Are you with the Tucker?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you one more time or the conversation is over because you really sound like a dummy, okay? With all due respect, you really sound like an ignoramus. You claim Hillary Clinton should be in jail. You couldn't articulate one crime that she committed because you're an idiot. I think we've proven that, sir. What, do you have a stutter now, sir? Did you develop a stutter? I'm going to ask you one more time because I think you're an imbecile and you're wasting my time. But that's okay. I do that with you MAGA morons every day. You prove how stupid you truly are. But prove me wrong, sir. Name me something about Kamala Harris policy-wise that you didn't like about her. And I'm not stuttering, sir. I'm now asking you for a third time. Name me something you don't like about Kamala. No, I'm not going to calm down because you've wasted 20 minutes of my airtime because you're a fool.
All she had was her $25,000 housing credit, which I think was a waste of time.
Okay, so all she had was her $25,000 house credit. Okay, that's not all she had. She talked about raising minimum wage. She talked about putting more money into maternity leave, the right to choose, putting back Roe versus Wade in place. She talked about tax breaks, putting it down to 27% or lower for people that make under $400,000 a year. So you are completely wrong when you say, quote, that's all she had. So would you like to try again and try door number 2 where you can win another stupid prize? Say something that is factually accurate or at least an opinion that makes a little bit of sense, sir. You lost on that one. That wasn't, quote, all she had. I think all you have is 2 brain cells. What do you think about that, sir? Name me something else. Please, sir. Please,
I'm going to talk now. I think she's a very beautiful lady. I leave her with a face like a painter's radio. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so you're just an idiot. You're just an idiot. So when it comes down to it, you can't name anything you really didn't like about Kamala Harris. Okay, you probably look like Donald Trump. You're probably a middle-aged, obese white dude, and you put on 8 layers of orange makeup. And I'll tell you one thing: you've never had a woman like Kamala Harris before. In fact, I don't even think you've ever had a woman, quite frankly. What did we learn in this conversation? We learned that another idiot MAGA supporter called into this show and claimed Hillary Clinton belongs in jail. I asked him to articulate and name a crime that he believed that she committed. He couldn't do it, and I asked him over 10 times. And then I asked John, the MAGA supporter, name me something about Kamala Harris that you didn't like. And he couldn't do that either, and then he went to an ad hominem attack. So now I'll do the same. John, you're an imbecile, okay? Go see a dentist with your 3 teeth. Go get educated. Go back to high school and get your GED. And hopefully you'll be deported and sent to an El Salvador prison. But with due process. Don't worry. We'll give you due process. I think you might have some tattoos. Deport John to El Salvador, please. Can we please do that? Holy smokes, what a dope.